12th of December 2025 marked the completion of railway electrification project between Kuala Lumpur and Johor Bahru, the capital of southern state of Johor. With the distance of 360 kilometers, Johor Bahru is the last major city in the mainline KTMB network to be connected with the ETS. With 27 kilometers distance between Johor Bahru and Central Business District or CBD of Singapore, the completion of ETS benefits the cross-border travel between Malaysia and Singapore as well. In this video, we are looking at 3 questions. 1. What are the experiences on board the brand new ETS3 from KL Sentral? 2. What is the travel duration between Kuala Lumpur and Johor Bahru? 3. Is travel between Kuala Lumpur and Singapore via Johor Bahru possible with the new ETS? Let's take the pioneer train down south to Johor Bahru and understand the tremendous impacts ETS brought to Johor. The journey today started from KL Sentral, the main railway station in Kuala Lumpur. As the main railway station, the ETS operation starts here, either to the north and to the south. Other than ETS, the station also serves by KTM commuter, LRT Kelana Jaya Line, KLIA Express and KLIA Transit, KL Monorail and MRT at nearby Museum Negara. This video is the reattempt of the video I made on the February 2025, where the journey from Kuala Lumpur to Singapore with trains took more than 12 hours because changing trains 3 times. The first ETS3 train heading towards JB Sentral scheduled to depart at 7:45 am. There are lots of people who ride the first train down south. In fact, the ETS3 tickets were fully sold out until early January 2026, 3 weeks after this video was made. All the passengers here in the waiting hall are the standard class passengers. Meanwhile, the business class passengers waited in comfort above in a lounge looking upon us down here, the Earthlings. Initially, I want to choose the business class, but the tickets have sold out. Anyway, I still grateful to get the seat as all the seats were sold out. Yeah, just be grateful of that. With the new ETS3 to Johor Bahru, let's see how much time can be saved.
Para penumpang dipersilakan ke pintu B platform nombor 2 untuk pelepasan. Train ini akan berlepas pada jam 7.45 pagi.
The brand new ETS3 train still shows Kluang as the terminus of the line, the very same train I rode when ETS3 started its operation back on August 2025. At the rear end of the platform is the ETS second generation, operates between KL Sentral and Padang Besar to the north. Before we start our journey, let us wonder of why ETS was introduced in the first place. ETS is short for Electric Train Service, which is the flagship passenger services of KTMB or Kereta Api Tanah Melayu, Malaysia's national rail operator. Launched on 12th of August 2010, ETS operated first between Seremban and Ipoh via Kuala Lumpur with 220 km of distance. The ETS operation between KL Sentral and Seremban was suspended in the year 2012 due to low demand. The reason is similar travel duration with commuter with double the price. On the 10th of October 2015, ETS was expanded to Padang Besar in the north and Gemas in the south. In the same year, the preliminary works has started on Gemas Johor Bahru electrified double-track railway project. And here we are, 10 years later, the historic trip will be made by new ETS3 set, KTM Class 94. The earliest two sets of ETS3 was made and assembled by CRRC Chuzhou in Chuzhou, China, while the remaining 8 sets will be assembled in Batu Gajah, Perak. The journey from KL Sentral to JB Sentral, the main station of Johor Bahru, will take about 4 hours and 20 minutes with a distance of 360 kilometers. At 7:45 am, train departed from KL Sentral heading towards JB Sentral. Let's see what are the amenities provided in the ETS3 train. The seats are in 2+2 configuration for standard class. For business class, the seating is 2+1. There is a footrest with a generous leg room in front, so spacious, better than flying. There are two Type G sockets below front of the seats. Everyone gets one each. No need to wrestle who can use the socket first, like in the earlier ETS trains. There is also a headrest. Large folding table that can fit a laptop. Quite sturdy. There is a hook at the left side as Malaysians always bring some sort of bags when travelling. There is an overhead luggage compartment to put the cabin size baggage. And if a person in front of you reclines backwards, just pull a lever next to the seat and do the same thing. I will mention the ticket price at the end of this video and methods of how to buy the tickets. Stay tuned. Between Salat Selatan and Seremban, the railway track reduced from double track to just a single track. The reduction happened due to ongoing Klang Valley Double Track or KVDT replacement project, replaced the old railway track. The never-ending project that caused reduction in speed and frequency of trains between Kuala Lumpur and Seremban. Let's walk to the other carriages to see what are the other amenities offered on board the ETS3. As you can see, all seats are facing the front as all the seats are turnable either to the front, to the south or to the back, to the north. No more feeling dizzy by sitting backwards. But the thing is, the space between the wall and the seat at coach E is really narrow, you need to squeeze. And let's see how the washroom looks like. It's just a washroom with a sink and a mirror. Hi. The toilet flush loud like in an aeroplane. Quite clean. Meanwhile, there is a larger disabled washroom in coach D. Similar design with the regular washroom but with more space to allow wheelchair users. Arriving at Kajang, the terminus for MRT Kajang Line. ETS shared the platform with more frequent commuter service at Bandar Tasik Selatan, Kajang and Seremban throughout the route. Sometimes commuter passengers mistakenly enter the ETS train. I saw a few times it happened before. Therefore, it is common to see the KTM staff yelling at the platform warn the passengers not to board the wrong train. Due to KVDT project, the journey between Kajang and Seremban is 45 minutes, covering just 46 kilometers of distance. So slow. Walking back to the other coaches to see more amenities. There is a Muslim praying room in coach D. I used this room on the way back from Johor Bahru. Nearby, next door is coach C. There is a cafeteria selling food and drinks. Therefore, welcome to Fami World Food, where we try the food offered on board the ETS3. As the train is fully occupied, it is unsurprising to see a lot of people queuing up for food. Before I hit the record button, this video do good shaky moments in the train. Suddenly my drink fell down from the counter. Thanks to the hardworking staffs who cleaned up all the mess and made me another cup of hot drinks. Thank you so much. Today I ordered Korean style mac and cheese with a hot drink. Cheesy. Entering the only railway tunnel in Negeri Sembilan before Seremban Station. In fact, this is the only tunnel throughout the route. Seremban Station is under massive renovation to increase the train frequency and passenger capacity between here and Kuala Lumpur. The old station will be integrated into the new station building as the building is listed as National Heritage. Between Seremban and Gemas, the electrified double-track railway has been in operation since the year 2015. Therefore, the train could accelerate to its optimum operating speed. From Sungai Gadut, the maximum speed is 140 km per hour from here until the end of the line in Johor Bahru. Operating with a top speed of 140 km per hour, ETS significantly improves both the speed and comfort of trains on KTM service. There have been minor criticism on social media who feel that ETS fares are too high for the commoners compared with the terminated Sleeper Express. The Sleeper Express services, including the beloved Express Rakyat, were eventually phased out and fully terminated in the year 2016. You might be wondering why ETS replaced the sleeper train that had long been an affordable option for many. To put it short, ETS replaced the old Sleeper Express as the former expresses, often delayed, have low daily frequency, which often only 1 or 2 trips per day, aging infrastructure and increasingly expensive fuel and maintenance costs. In addition, the ticket price of former sleeper trains were slightly higher than the express buses, but the speed far slower. I talked about the transition from old diesel nightly express to ETS in the previous video back in the year 2023, which is ages ago when I was travelling to Penang. There are reasons of why the former express services were terminated in favour of more modern and comfortable air-conditioned ETS. To know more about the transition from the old diesel-run locomotives to the ETS, the link to watch this video is up here. The views of Gunung Datuk, which is part of Titiwangsa Range, is so breathtaking. The magnificent views of Titiwangsa Range and orchards near the railway are recorded in an old book, an illustrated guide to the Federated Malay States, published in the year 1923. It is still one of the most delightful tracks in all Malaya and too soon pass through in the train. Rambau is the only stretch of the country of any interest or picturesqueness between Kuala Lumpur and Singapore. More than 100 years later, the window views from the train passing through Rambau is still as picturesque as it was a century ago. Arriving at Gemas, the junction between the electrified mainline and KTM East Coast Line. This single railway line to the East Coast is non-electrified and serves only the regular night express in the whole KTM network.
Gemas. Sila awasi langkah anda.
Gemas. Mind your step.
Between 2015 until 15th of March 2025, Gemas is the southern terminus of ETS operation. Thus, passengers heading towards East Coast and Johor need to transfer here. With the new ETS3, train transfer between KL Sentral and JB Sentral is no longer needed. After Gemas, the train entered the state of Johor and speeding towards Johor Bahru. As we entered Johor, let us understand the history of railway in Johor, how it started. I have explained the history of railway in Johor in the previous video at Kluang, I made in Kluang, where the ETS operation is extended to Kluang on the 30th of August 2025. The town in the central Johor, midway between Gemas and Johor Bahru. To know more about Kluang and what is interesting in the town, the link to watch this video is here. There were two former railways that used to exist in Johor before the current railway. Johor Wooden Railway was the earliest documented railway construction in the whole peninsula, linking Johor Bahru and a health resort in Mount Pulai. The construction started in 1869. Railway was made of compacted earth as the ballast and wood as both railing and sleeper, hence its name, Wooden Railway. However, it was unclear whether the railway was ever regularly operated, as the last newspaper article dated 1889 reported that the railway has been abandoned years before due to locomotive accident and termites damaged the wooden rail. And other than that, how many people know that Muar used to have a railway? Muar State Railway opened in 1890, link Muar and nearby town of Parit Jawa to ease the movement of agricultural produce and people between these towns. Originally, the railway across Johor was planned to build between Malacca and Johor Bahru via Muar. However, the railway was built in the middle of Johor instead to open up the new land for rubber plantations. Due to fierce competition with the road transport, the railway at Muar was shut down in the year 1929. Back to the current railway.
Segamat. Sila awasi langkah anda.
Segamat. Mind your step.
Initially owned and operated by Johor State Railway, the railway between Gemas and Johor Bahru was opened in the year 1909. The railway was built during British colonization era to link Johor with the rest of British Malaya and eventually Singapore in the year 1924 after the completion of Johor Causeway. Between 1909 until 1948, railway in Johor is owned and operated by Federated Malay States Railway or FMSR. In the book An Illustrated Guide to the Federated Malay States by Cuthbert Woodville Harrison, the journey between Kuala Lumpur and former Tank Road Station in Singapore was 13 hours. In the year 1923, 13 hours. After 1948, FMSR was renamed as Malayan Railway and its Malay name Kereta Api Tanah Melayu was made official in the year 1962. When Malaysia rapidly developed in the second half of the 20th century, roads and highways took over as the main connector between Malaysian cities and towns. Express bus ticket is cheaper than the train and the seats are guaranteed. Lorries are more flexible and cars provide freedom of movement. As a result, the passenger services become less relevant and new railway lines such as Pasir Gudang and Pulau Indah only serve freight and cargo. Thus, KTM need to introduce a new service that is faster and more reliable with more frequency than the old sleeper trains. The electrification project was started in the year 2000 by extending the existing electrified double-track railway. During the construction, the original name for ETS was Rapid Intercity Services. ETS not only increasing the speed, reliability and daily train frequency, ETS also brought increasing revenue to KTM Berhad, which often run at a loss. In the year 2016, a year after ETS operation was extended to Gemas and Padang Besar, the ETS revenue is 145.5 million ringgit. The revenue took a hit from the pandemic and slowly risen from 179.3 million ringgit in 2022 to 247 million ringgit in the year 2024. The increase of revenue between 2016 until 2024 happened as the ETS alignment remains the same, Padang Besar, Kuala Lumpur, Gemas, as more and more trains were added into the service. Even that, there is not enough train to fulfill the demand, always sold out. Of course, ETS ticket prices are more expensive than buses and sometimes similar to flying, so why are ETS trains often fully booked on weekends and major holidays? Because there is an increasing interest of ETS as express buses are stuck in traffic jam and flying has a baggage limit and intense security clearance. And the tickets are often sold out as there is not enough ETS trains to fulfill the demand. Buying ETS ticket might be not as intense as buying a ticket to a Blackpink concert. With the cost of more than 8 billion ringgit, Gemas Johor Bahru electrified double-track project not only rebuilt the railway but also the stations throughout the line. If you notice, all the stations that the ETS3 passed through in Johor are the brand new station except JB Sentral. And why was JB Sentral was excluded from the redevelopment? Because the station was built as part of Southern Integrated Gateway and was opened back in 2010. All other stations throughout the line were torn down and rebuilt as a new station with temporary station in its vicinity. Only Kluang Old Station building remained, as the old station building houses the famous Kluang Real Coffee restaurant. Before reaching Kluang, the train suddenly stopped, perhaps an emergency brake with an unknown reason, nobody knows. Between the 30th of August and 11th of December 2025, Kluang was the terminus for the ETS3 services. This train is the first revenue train that going to Kluang towards JB Sentral. While the train passing through Johor, let's enjoy the scenery and the towns before the journey ends at Johor Bahru. Arriving at Kulai, the northern terminus of the future commuter Selatan between Kulai and JB Sentral, a good alternative than facing the traffic jam at Skudai.
train ini adalah JB Sentral. Stesen berikutnya JB Sentral.
As we are approaching JB Sentral, let's ponder on the journey made prior to the ETS. Before the ETS, there was Express Rakyat, Express Selatan, and before 2011, direct connection to Tanjung Pagar, Singapore. The old locomotives are slow and noisy, while the night trains are shaky. It took 4 hours from JB Sentral to Gemas, slower than bus. However, I will do miss the old Express Selatan cafeteria. Freshly made food with sandwiches instead of microwavable airline meals and instant coffee. In short, food is better in the old trains, but we need to move on because the train almost arrived at the station, so we need to get ready and pack up everything. Arriving at JB Sentral at 12:22 PM with 17 minutes of delay. The arrival of ETS3 to JB Sentral marked the completion of the electrified double-track railway project between Padang Besar and Johor Bahru, border to border. There are celebrations at JB Sentral with the first passengers got their first day tag. I got one. For now, JB Sentral is still not the southern terminus of KTM railway network because Shuttle Terbrau to Woodlands, Singapore is still up and running. After arriving at JB Sentral, my journey is not end right here. The journey continues from JB Sentral to Singapore CBD because 21.5% of the viewers of Fami will Facts channel are watching from the Lion City. And some of you might be asking what is the duration and cost from KL to Singapore with ETS3 to Johor Bahru. I got you answered. Arriving at Woodlands checkpoint at the Singaporean side of the busiest border crossings in the world. Woodlands is the current southern terminus of KTM railway network after the shutdown of railway between Woodlands and Tanjung Pagar in the year 2011. Sometime after 2027, KTM will end the shuttle terminal services when RTS or Rapid Transit System between Bukit Chagar in Johor Bahru and Woodlands North in Singapore open to the public, ending the 104 years of KTM operation in Singapore. By that point, cross-border travel will be more convenient as RTS link ETS and commuter Selatan on Malaysian side and Thomson East Coast Line or TEL on Singaporean side. After the ETS reach Johor Bahru, it will be more convenient for both Malaysians and Singaporeans to visit and travel across Straits of the Brow. According to CNA, the introduction of ETS to Johor Bahru will encourage Singaporeans to take the train to the Malaysian cities and towns. ETS might provide alternatives for flying and express buses between KL and Singapore. Compared to flying, the security checks in the railway station are minimal, if there is any. Usually none, there's no. Furthermore, train brings you right into the city centre instead of travel further from the city centre to Kuala Lumpur International Airport or KLIA or Changi Airport. Train is more convenient as ETS brings passengers between the heart of Kuala Lumpur to the northern end of Johor Causeway. Environmentally, electric trains emit lesser carbon to the atmosphere compared to flying an express bus. In the same CNA article, ETS completion might reduce the need of building a high-speed railway as the construction and maintenance cost of a high-speed railway is too high. Do you think high-speed railway is still relevant when ETS is become the nearest competitor? You may comment down below. For now, the only public transport link between Woodlands checkpoint and Woodlands or Kranji MRT stations is the bus service. I reached Raffles Place in the heart of the city at 2:47 PM with a duration of 7 hours and 2 minutes, a huge improvement compared to the travel I made on February 2025, just 10 months prior. Price-wise, shuttle to Brow costs RM5, bus fare to Woodlands is $1.19 and MRT fare from Woodlands to Raffles Place is $2.28. And there you have it, a trip from Kuala Lumpur to Johor Bahru with the brand new ETS3. This time there is no need to transit at Gemas. The total travel time between Kuala Lumpur and Singapore is reduced drastically too, from 13 hours to just 7 hours. As a result, I am not surprised when the ETS ticket sold out as the demand for rail travel is strong. It is cheaper than flying, more pleasant than the bus and less stressful than driving. Truly a remarkable achievement in Malaysia's development history. If you like to take the ETS3 train between Kuala Lumpur and Johor Bahru, the new train operates between KL Sentral and JB Sentral. The train starts its journey from KL Sentral station. Do not go to the old Kuala Lumpur station. All ETS3 trains are wheelchair accessible and the new stations between Seremban and JB Sentral are accessible as well. The fare between KL Sentral to JB Sentral or standard class varies between RM90 to RM99 per person one way, depending on the date of travel. Business class ticket is varied between RM150 to RM169 per person one way. Discounts apply to the elderly, government pensioners, persons with disability, students and uniform members such as armed forces, police and firefighters still on service. Malaysian only. Reference list in the form of articles is in the description for your further reference. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new about ETS3 with the first trip that marked the completion of railway electrification project on KTM mainline. Thank you so much for watching again and see you in the next video.